welcome to the Expand Podcast. I'm joined here today on opening day of D2D Con 7 with Cody Thiel. Cody has been in the solar industry probably for, what would you say, over a decade?
8 years. Not quite a decade yet.
Oh, we're just knocking on the door, though. That's awesome. Cody has been in the training side, building businesses, running businesses, owning businesses, writing books. He's been a lot. So in this episode, what we're trying to accomplish is just hear from his perspective of what's allowed him to be so successful in the solar game. So I'm just going to start off and say, Cody, welcome.
Thank you.
Please, give us a little background on yourself. Tell us, where you started, how you started, and we'll jump in from there.
Yeah. Like when you said success, I was like, man, I don't know if I describe myself as successful because I see, from the individual perspective, you just see the ups and downs. But yeah, no, I started in solar 2015 out in Arizona. And I was only there for a year and a half, and then net metering started going away, and I thought the market was done. People are still out there crushing it, so that was like a good learning lesson. But to give a shout out to Sam and the door-to-door experts, I was working for Segura Solar, which is one of their early consulting clients.
Yeah. And
you guys came in, did a great job, and that was my first real executive role where we just were able to take a company that was doing 20, 30 sales to 160 within a year.
Yep.
So that was a really cool experience. Worked with Jonathan Gibbs over at SET and then Lumio. And then
because when you were at SET though, we also teamed up again, didn't we? The door-to-door experts and everything we did.
Yep.
We started sending sales orgs and stuff.
Or people, diverting them, around.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then after that, I was like, man, these guys are doing so good. I think I want to try the risk me myself. So partnered with a company out in Illinois, and last year, or the first year, they were struggling. I think we're doing 15, 20 installs a month, maybe 20 plus, about 20 installs a month. Last year we cleared 700 and had a very profitable year, which is nice because solar didn't have much of a profitable year.
With Illinois, right? It's you got the SRAC program. But talk to me about the install rate. You've had an unbelievable install rate.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people 90, 120 days out, getting sketchy at that 180 where it's I have to go back to the lenders and stuff like that. But you have had such a short, a decent install time, but you're getting a high percentage. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the first thing is we say no to a lot of people.
Okay.
So when we first started doing our own installs, I wanted to be the Harvard of solar, right? Most people don't know, Harvard only has 9,000 undergrad students, but it's the most famous institution ever. So I was like, I just want the elite of the elite for both sales and ops. Let's get them in and say no to everybody else. So that was the first thing. The second thing is just having really great, bold salespeople that say, they know what to say, know what not to say. They're not afraid to tell a customer no. But when you do that, it's like a pullback, and people want to come at you. The other thing is just saying no to certain areas. I know that saying no sounds like a very negative thing. I just should have started that more positive. But actually, I think the door-to-door industry is known for just welcoming everything in, which to a point's good. But it's also you need to know how to bin and sort your time.
Yeah. And
that's really important. Saying yes, the best, and the other opportunities they'll figure themselves out. The 80-20 rule. Follow the best, and the best will come.
I love that. I think we do get caught up, and I think when you can follow the 80-20 rule, I think you start seeing those little wins start becoming bigger wins, and just because you're able to focus on that stuff, right? And I want to jump into, again, guys, I want to tell you this much. That's unheard of. His percentage is unheard of. I mean, it's amazing. So I want to jump into your writing ability, right? I'm pretty sure you just wrote a book.
Yep.
Give me a little background about what the book's called, what it's about, how it came to fruition, how this whole idea came. Because so we all talk about it, we all, I want to write a book, I want to do this, but we never do it. What was the straw that broke the camel's back that you're this has to be out, this has to be in people's hands?
Yeah, well, I started for an install company in 2018. I was working for one, and they had no manual. and I'm just a systems person. I suck at sales, actually, to be candid.
Sure.
And so for me, like, I have to write it out and follow a script. And so I had written this out, and I was talking with Jonathan Gibbs, and he was just like, why don't you just like publish this, or like make it to a book format and publish it? So like 2 years ago, I just had a little extra time on my hands, and I just spent a week. That was it.
Yeah.
And did 90% of the work in a week, and said, what if I was starting out, what would make me the most amount of money if I just had 2 weeks to learn? That was it, right? Like, got to condense that timeline, because we're in commission sales. The faster we get paid, the faster it is. So just made it as short as possible and as direct as possible, like manual on for solar. How do you set a lead or get a lead and close a deal so people can get that, like, reduce that timeline.
Yeah.
So, and then wrote it in 2 weeks, a week, 2 weeks, sat there for like a year.
Oh.
And I just got stuck in draft mode.
Okay.
And I didn't like know the publishing thing. And I had a friend that was like, oh, this is how you publish on Amazon. So I just paid him and said, hey, you finish the rest of the logistics. And then they did the rest of the logistics, published it. And anyway, now it's a really good manual we use it internally. We haven't done a lot of promotion about it, but other people have caught on. Selling Sunshine, how to make 100K in solar in a year. So,
Love it.
Yeah, it's really small, very direct.
So would you say, anytime the DD experts go into a company and consult or anything like that, we have onboarding process and we have that calendar and things like that.
Yep.
Would you consider your book on the lines of like, hey, this is like what I would consider like a solar Bible? Like, your people need this to understand how to go from A to Z in a sense of like the sales process, or what's that really look like?
Yeah, it's definitely sales focused. I would say it's like your field guide.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Like someone parachutes you out in the middle of the woods. How do you survive, right? What is the basics you have to know to survive? That's what it is.
Got it. Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's super important. I mean, I've been in the industries of, roofing and solar.
Yeah.
I've seen it, for about a decade.
Yeah.
More roofing than solar, but I always feel that that's the miss. No matter what, it's never like pen to paper. It's never, you always just throw them to the wolves and cross your fingers.
Yeah.
And I think when people can come to their senses and say, hey, we need something written out. We need our reps need this support. So I tip my hat to you for that, because that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it's a miss, and I think you fix that, right? And Cody, talk to me. 8 years. You've seen the industry, the solar industry, evolve and the roller coaster ride.
Yep.
What do what are your thoughts on what's going on in the industry now, and where do you think it's going in 2024? And what, in your opinion, where do you think you see it in the next 2-3 years or so?
Yeah, right now it's rough. You see a lot of people exiting on both the company side and individuals. And for me, I'm just like, this is the best time to get in. Like, there's industries that go through that downturn. Like, we built solar 1.0 from 2010, 2012 to now, and that model's failed. And the economy's showing that. And so a lot of people are like, oh, solar's done, or I'm tired of it, whatever. But like, every industry goes through this. The 1.0 always fails. If you got out of the internet in 1998,
right.
like,
yeah,
a ton of people did, because the dot-com bubble burst, and then they got out, like, we're done. And it's like, dude, that was first quarter.
Yeah, that was
first
the future.
Quarter.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're just in first quarter, halftime, like, we're just getting started. The good news is, like, a lot of the crap's getting out of there. So now we get to reinvent from, like, all our past mistakes. So now's the best time to get in.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
So what would you say, in the solar industry, I feel that it's starting to get like a bad name, right? I feel like the training is a little, they're just selling it wrong, in my opinion, right?
It has.
Well,
it has a bad name.
Yeah, like, I hate that, because again, coming from the roofing into the solar and stuff like that, I try, I always have my own standards, right? We have a standard we want to sell in. I don't want to take advantage of anybody. I want it to make sense. I don't want to put them in a pickle, right? What would you say for people who are going to be watching, like, what are your top 3 things as a sales rep at the table that they should probably be conveying to that homeowner, so they're not misleading them or misguiding them, and they're getting the proper system put on their house that is best for themselves and their family? Yeah,
the first rule that I always follow is, imagine you're being recorded. Like, so if you're on record, then you're always going to say the right things.
Yeah.
And I was on record for a long time, because I was what I did with Sam training.
Yeah.
Sam just followed us around with the camera, and so I was like, I didn't have to change anything I said because it was already good.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is like, just treat that customer like a friend. One, because you're going to build a better rapport. But imagine this is a long-term relationship, not a one and done.
Yeah.
Right. And then those are two like basic principles. And then number 3, don't be afraid to admit you're wrong or call for help.
Yeah.
Like any high ticket sale item always has like a closer and a setter. Like you buy a car or a house, there's a finance person. You deal with multiple people.
Nope.
And so in-home sales, we think, oh, we got to solo it, we got to do it ourselves. Like, no, use your support system. Like call your manager for help.
Yep.
Call other people to like get 2-touch closes. Like that's going to help your closing. Like the top closers I know use a team, not just themselves.
Right. Well, I think you cover more ground and you get more stuff done when you delegate, right?
Yeah.
I believe in delegating to elevate, and I think
Yep.
if you can do it, use your team. The one thing that you said, I love, like, pretend that you're getting recorded.
Yeah.
I find it funny because when anybody's ever struggling in the field, right, knocking, you're always like, hey, go shadow somebody. Or, hey, I'm going to have so-and-so shadow you. All of a sudden, you revert back to your basics of what you were taught the proper way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, things start falling in place. And you're like, oh, wow, that's all I needed.
Yeah.
And in all reality, it wasn't because somebody was with you. It was because you thought about what you were saying.
Yeah.
And that if I said the wrong thing, it's going to come up, and I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. I think another thing that people need to start really focusing on or selling on is, I always sold as I was selling to my mom or my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, it's one of their largest or biggest investments that they'll ever make for their house, and it's not a necessity, right? It's an accessory.
Yeah.
And it's like, and when they're dumping that, it's like you could put them in a bind.
Yeah.
But I always ask the question, would you be okay if your parents signed this deal? Would you be okay if you put this deal in front of your 90-year-old grandma and said, hey, I'm gonna get you solar.
Yeah.
You're gonna do awesome.
Yeah.
You're gonna save so much money.
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, well, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Or you're like, I could probably get you a better deal. Well, what's that look like?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, I think you hit on a whole lot. When it comes to, the solar energy or solar industry, right? There's a lot of frustration around like the installers.
Yeah.
What do you think if EPCs or somebody's watching this?
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, what would you say is a great attributes or however you want to say for a good install crew? Like if you're building this or you're using them or anything, what's the good signs of hey, they're going to do a great job or hey, I have to question this?
Yeah. To kind of pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
People complain, and I'm going to get flack for this. People complain about how bad teaching is in America.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's bad. There's good and bad, but if we paid people better,
no,
it would be
I'm
better.
with you.
It's like with installers, the incentives aren't always there, and so
I've heard that too.
Why would you if you're a really high talented individual and you see a sales paycheck and an install paycheck, why would you do otherwise, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing we've done is we incentivize our installers. Salespeople go on a trip, we just took our installers on a trip. So
I love that.
So we all the top performing installers, because performance, and we took them out to Utah 3 days, just hanging out, have fun.
Oh, cool.
Right, and so if I'm a salesperson looking for an installer, one, I want to see okay, are they treating their people well? What's their turnover time? Are they paying their people higher than other places? Then you're probably going to have a better experience as a salesperson.
Yeah.
Same for ops. It's okay to demand enough because it's there. You just have to ask for it. Yep. Now your performance needs to rise that occasion.
Yep.
But I know that's to the point, but yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you 100%. I think when we look at the installers, I think we expect so much and we don't give them enough.
Yeah.
I don't think we give them enough support. I don't think we give them enough, pay or incentivize them or anything.
Yeah.
I've been on both sides of sales orgs and EPCs, and I'm close with a lot of installers, right? And that's their number. We do all of this, but you guys are going on this trip, or you guys get this bonus, or you guys get praised for this. And I think if you could take that culture of what you do with your sales team, right? and just apply it in all aspects and give them metrics. Give them something, show the appreciation. The problem is I think we get caught up in the all day, every day of the grind. And we don't forget that the littlest appreciation goes so far. And I think we miss that because we want to go, 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 and we feel that all this heat is like on our back, and it's like, why aren't you installing this much? Or why aren't we doing this? Like, come on, come on, come on, come on. And instead it's like, hey, we're actually doing well, good, you're doing great. Hey, we're getting backed up. What do you need from us? How can we support, not bark, 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 bark? It's just, how do I assist? How do I help? How does this make sense for us in order to make you guys feel comfortable that you're doing the best job possible and we're installing as quickly as possible, right? So I think that's super, super good. What would you say, you know, just looking back through the career that you're at and where you're going, what would you say are the 3 best things that you love about solar? And what are the 3 best things that are like questionable? Like, I look at myself and I'm like, I love the idea of renewable energy, right? I love that. I think that's that's sexy. I think it can turn a lot of homeowners on. It's like, no pun intended, because we can just flip that switch and turn them on right away. But no, it's like, I think there's a lot of great things, but I also see it on the back end or other side where it's like, that number's not sexy. This isn't sexy. Or, oh wow, well, how if this was I'll probably get flack for this too. It's like, if it was a more I wouldn't even say reasonable is the right word, but like the payouts and stuff, because again, it's like, what is it necessary to pay that much? Is it like, where can we, or how can we, or are we being greedy? Does that make sense? I see there's a lot of people out here, like, I believe there's a ton of people that I'm friends with that just sell it to sell it, and get it on the house, and they go off of volume, right? Instead of like, hey, I just need to sell 5 deals at this much. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna sell it and just keep selling because I love selling and I know I can make a lot of money. Rather than the ones that I feel that take advantage, right? And I think that's where the sex, like that turn off, and that's like,
the grimy sales. You know, to kind of answer that question, I look at the solar industry like car industry in the 50s and 60s. Like, nobody blames manufacturers for not putting seatbelts in cars. It's like, we just didn't know. Everybody looks back and they're like, man, we were really stupid. I think that's what people are going to look at the solar industry as, is like, yeah, they should have done better. We know better now, but we were all kind of dumb. We didn't wear seatbelts, you know? And so, like, looking back, like, some of the fun stuff is, it is fun to build and create and put your DNA into stuff, you know, and see, like, cool, I built this platform, and now other people are using it. Like, so that's, like, seeing that in the industry is really cool. Like, the things that, like, maybe regrets is, I think we want to build so far so fast, you know, and it's like, well, actually, it's okay to just enjoy some of the time, you know.
It's okay to do it in phases. It's okay. It's like not like all or nothing. It's like, hey, we're gonna make it to this point. Let's enjoy that, and then now, hey, we gotta shift and we gotta go to this level.
And so many people are just like, probably for most, like, they're so focused on making money or taking advantage or competition, like, they're ruining relationships. And it's like, guys, if you just slow down a little bit, and weren't like needed it so now. It's like, I want it now. It's like that Willy Wonka girl, you know? It's like, value long-term relationships. Like, these people are going to be in business for decades, and it's going to not just be in solar, it's going to be roofing or whatever. Like, things could switch. If you don't screw people over and just do people right, you have a lifetime of business to handle. Like, look at that, and then you won't have any regrets, versus, like, it can be pretty cutthroat in our industry sometimes.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So I'm going to shift gears. You know, how many D2D cons have you been to this far? There's 7 of them.
Is this 4, 5?
Awesome. No, I love that. That's great. There's a couple things. One, what do you feel the evolution of it has been? And then what are you most excited about for these 2 days every year? Because if you've been consistent, like, I get excited, I get amped, not only because I'm part of the team and I've seen what the back end looks like, but it's just fun to see everybody and hear what 2024 is going to hold for them, and just set that tone, right? So
I think for me the best thing is just the people.
Cool.
You know, like, I'm really grateful that you guys put this together, because it's like, we just focus on our own little street, our own little office. It's like so fun to come and get, like, I'm an introvert and it drains me to come here.
Yeah.
But I love it because it's like I get to see all these people and like FaceTime and talk. Like that's my favorite part, is the networking. But also, like, you just see the best practices and say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, and then you can take back and like reset, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm with you in that as well. I love the community and I love the openness. I think what Sam has done to set that, you know, there's no secret sauce type deal. It's like, everybody, I'm doing this, you should be doing this.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, I'm doing this, kick rocks, right?
Yep.
And I think I get excited about that because I love seeing the way other people's minds work and perspective, right? I think when you see things from our lens all the time, it's just a tunnel vision almost, and you don't get to see what's really out there. But when we step back and say, oh, wow, I never thought of that. Oh, well, that's good. Well, wow. I don't think that would work for me, but I could see why it's working for you in that model type deal, right? But then you take it all home, and when you decompress and you're looking at notes or anything like that, it's like, oh my God, it was well worth the ticket. It was well worth, you know, it's just one that's like it's just so rewarding and so grateful for the information that was being able. It's just amazing all around. So I do agree. What else? Like, is there anything else that you just want to get off your chest or anything? Like, I mean, that's serious. It's just like, you know, you have the mic and there's things like your ahas or your big, like, oh man, I just want this. This is what my goal, or this is my vision for solar.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's been on my mind lately is sometimes people, like, they get so worried about restarting. Yeah. Right. Like, solar's like big restart year, or they're worried about, like, hey, something didn't work out, or maybe it wasn't even my fault, and I have to like redo again. And like, I've had several moments in my life, and what I've learned is like to cherish and love those moments, because you take all the bad habits away and put them in. It's kind of like when you recruit a new rep. Sometimes people are like, I like the new reps the best, is you don't get the trauma most of the time.
No.
And you don't get the bad habits.
Right.
So like, treat your own life like that. Like, when there's a new stage, take away the bad habits, take away yourself, take away all the old baggage, and just start new. Like, don't be afraid of starting new.
I love that. No, and that was funny because we just had our VVIP with all of our circle members and everything. And I don't know how to say it. I'm always bad at it. Is it Tooele?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, in Utah.
Yeah. Anyways, so we were there, and it was breakthrough. And there's some in there that were starting over, and it was just really cool to see and have them speak to that, because their thoughts were the exact same way you just said. And I think you're right. I think people don't need to fear that or be ashamed of that or anything, because everybody, when you're trying to do big things and make big waves and make impact, there's going to be the times where you have to restart, and that's okay. It's just, now you just know the fast track to get where you were on a different path. And that's why I love failure. You know, I invite failure. I tell my kids that my kids get mad and frustrated, and it's like, no, I think that's great. I said, because go do it again. I said, I can tell you that you're not going to do what you just did again. And I said, so you're just looking at it as a kid would, and it's like, oh man, I can't do this, or oh, this is the worst. But I'm seeing it as in, dude, you're learning. This is the best way you're going to learn, is by, oh, hey, that's, I fell. Well, don't put your leg there. Put it over here. Does that make sense?
I love it. I love that.
So I think that's awesome. I think that's a great vision. Guys, that's all that I have for us today, right? Cody, thank you so much for your time. I think it was awesome. Guys, go look at his book. What's the book?
Selling Sunshine. It's on Amazon.
Dude, go get it. It sounds like it'd be an awesome little, you know, first day orientation book to hand to your reps, just for them to have, hey, here's your leisure reading. Other than that, Cody, appreciate you. Cody Thiel, love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Steven.
See you soon.